Today we'll be talking about Nintendo fanboys. Now, when it comes to Nintendo fanboys, there are two types of Nintendo fanboys that you will most likely come across. First is the regular Nintendo fanboy, like myself. The Nintendo fanboy is someone who loves Nintendo, loves their products, and loves the Nintendo Switch. Then there's the simptendo fanboy. The simptendo fanboy is also a Nintendo fanboy, but here's the thing. They love Nintendo so much, they will willingly go out to defend them even if Nintendo themselves have made a bad choice. Simptendo fanboys, they will literally defend Nintendo no matter what. Doesn't matter how you look at it, whether Nintendo is being criticized or they made a bad choice and now they're getting backlash. Nintendo or Simtendo fanboys will always be there to defend Nintendo. Now, before you assume anything, I myself am a Nintendo fanboy. Not a Simptendo fanboy, a Nintendo fanboy. Because I just told you what's the difference between a Nintendo fanboy and a Simptendo fanboy. But I am a Nintendo fanboy. I love Nintendo. I love my Nintendo Switch. But here's the thing. I also want Nintendo to make the right choices. And when they don't make the right choices, I complain. Because I want them to do better. So that way they don't make worse decisions in the future. That's why I complain on them when they make a bad choice. Now, a Simptendo fanboy, that's different. Simptendo fanboys will willingly go out and defend Nintendo no matter what. And that's exactly what's going on with the new Switch that just came out, the new version of the Switch, the OLED, whatever it's called. Now, as you know, I made a video about it, got a lot of views. I thank you guys for that. But here's the thing. Nintendo is able to get away with some of the worst crap, and it is all because of the Simptendo fanboys. Not the Nintendo fanboys, the Simptendo fanboys. And that's exactly how Nintendo is going to get away with this new version of the Switch, because we all know the new version of the Switch, it's garbage, it's a waste of money. Nintendo is just trying to squeeze some more money out of us. And the reason they will get away with it is because the Simptendo fanboys, not only will they defend Nintendo against deserved criticism that they're receiving right now, but they will also go out and actually spend the $350 on this new version of the Switch. You see, if us Xbox and PlayStation guys were like the Nintendo, or I mean the Simtendo fanboys, Xbox and PlayStation would probably be really different as well, because like I said, us Xbox and PlayStation guys, we're not like the Simtendo fanboys. I mean, sure, there are some PlayStation and Xbox fanboys out there, but no one likes them anyways, so that doesn't matter. But if half of us PlayStation and Xbox guys were like Nintendo fanboys, we probably wouldn't even have an Xbox Series X or a PS5. No, instead, there would be an Xbox One XL and there would be the super slim PS4 Pro. And do you know why? Because that would encourage Microsoft and Sony to milk their consoles, because that's exactly what Nintendo is doing. And the reason Nintendo is milking their console, the Nintendo Switch, is because the Simtendo fanboys are defending them. The Simtendo fanboys will always defend Nintendo. And you know what that does? Like, you Simtendo fanboys, you're going to be the downfall of the company that you're defending. Because if you continue to defend Nintendo, that's going to cause them some trouble. Because, like, here's the thing. When a company messes up, and when that company's supporters starts to get really angry and lots of backlash comes, the company is like, uh-oh, we made a bad choice, and our fans, the ones who made us successful in the first place, they're not happy. So we better fix this. But here's the thing with Nintendo and the Simtendo fanboys. When Nintendo makes a bad choice, like I just explained how every company does, and there's no one to, let Nintendo know that they messed up, that's going to encourage Nintendo to make even worse decisions in the future. Because here's the thing, a Nintendo fanboy will never criticize Nintendo no matter what. They have devoted so much of their life to protecting Nintendo. They won't even admit when even Nintendo is wrong. Even when Nintendo is wrong, Nintendo fanboys will still defend Nintendo no matter what. And that's why that's going to be a problem. Because what's happening right now is Nintendo is milking the Switch, okay? They're milking the Switch and they're making lots of bad choices. The online is garbage. And since the Simtendo fanboys, because there's more Simtendo fanboys than Nintendo fanboys, There's no one to let Nintendo know that they're making the wrong choice, because sure, Nintendo can receive some negative feedback from Nintendo fanboys, but that's doubled by well, like Simptendo fanboys, they're more Simptendo fanboys than Nintendo fanboys, okay? Like, I know that there's lots of Nintendo fanboys like myself, people who actually love Nintendo but at the same time want to see them make the right choices, but there are double the Simptendo fanboys. There are so many Simptendo fanboys all over the place. And you want to hear what's the bad part? Nintendo was never that good in the first place. Even before they made this new version of the Switch, they were never that good in the first place. I even made a video talking about how bad their online was. And do you know why Nintendo gets away with it? Do you? Because it's the Simptendo fanboys. Because they're the ones who are always defending Nintendo no matter what. It doesn't matter what Nintendo does. It doesn't matter what bad choice they made. Simptendo fanboys will always willingly and blindly defend Nintendo. If it wasn't for the Simtendo fanboys, maybe we would have actually had a better online mode for the Switch, because if the Simtendo fanboys actually got together and actually criticized Nintendo Switch Online, maybe Nintendo would have seen that, because you know that Nintendo doesn't listen to the negative feedback. They only listen to the Simtendo fanboys, because Nintendo literally has control over them, because not only do the Simtendo fanboys protect Nintendo from negative feedback, but Nintendo can also rip these Simtendo fanboys off with whatever product they make. They could probably make like new Joy-Cons tomorrow that are not even as good as the regular Joy-Cons and charge like $50 for it, and Simtendo fanboys, they will already be pulling out their wallets. So like I was saying, maybe we could have actually gotten a better online if it wasn't for the Simtendo fanboys, because you know that Simtendo fanboys will defend the Switch Online. They'll be like, it's only $20 though for the year plan, the 12-month plan. It's not that bad, dude. Come on now. You know Switch Online is terrible. I feel like even the Simtendo fanboys know that they're wrong, but they still like the problem is they've literally devoted their entire lives to defending Nintendo. That's why it's so bad. But anyways, Nintendo gets away with a lot of crap. And it is all because of the Simtendo fanboys. It's not just a crappy online. Nintendo was actually a pretty terrible company. Because first of all, the online for the Switch, it's garbage. Every game on the eShop is overpriced. Like, dude, there are literally last generation ports on here that go for like $30, $40. And they're last generation ports. Not only that, but do you know how much Doom 2016 is on this thing? Doom 2016, a game that came out in 2016, it's still full price on Nintendo Switch. It's still $59.99. Nintendo doesn't care about that shit. Nintendo's like, you have to pay $50 for it, just like when it first came out. Dude, seriously? Like, Nintendo was never that good in the first place. And Nintendo fanboys, they're sad, pathetic losers. Like, wake up. What is wrong with you people? Can you even see what you're defending? You are literally protecting a company that is shitting inside your mouth. And it's not even it's the really nasty version of the shit. It's the really smelly, wet diarrhea shit. That's the shit that Nintendo is putting in your guys' mouth, and you can't see that for some reason. Or you can, but you still defend Nintendo, no matter what. No matter what scummy business practice they have, no matter what bad decisions they make, Simtendo fanboys will always defend Nintendo. It doesn't matter what matter it is. And usually when this happens, usually it's because these people were they were brainwashed by the company. They were brainwashed by the company by making them think that they're a good company. No. Nintendo fanboys, they're not even brainwashed. They do this willingly. That's the sad part. Nintendo fanboys, Nintendo fanboys, they have, they're so committed to defending Nintendo, they can't even tell the difference between when a company does something right or wrong. Whatever Nintendo does, Nintendo fanboys will agree with it. It doesn't matter what Nintendo does. If Nintendo releases a new product that's not very good, Nintendo fanboys, they'll be okay with it. If they do something scummy for their online, Nintendo fanboys, they'll defend it and they'll be okay with it. Whatever Nintendo does, whatever they release, whatever business practices they have, whatever decisions they make, Nintendo fanboys will always agree with it, whether it is right or wrong. Now, sure, you can say that there are Xbox and PlayStation fanboys who are also like this, but here's the thing. Nintendo fanboys are just so much worse, because here's the thing. Us Xbox and PlayStation players, we actually have something good to defend. Like this thing over here, the Switch is a good console, but there's not, it's not an amazing console. At least us Xbox and PlayStation players, at least we actually have something good that we're defending. So like Xbox, like Xbox, they have their Game Pass. Sony, they have their exclusives. Those are good things to defend, though. Okay, if someone is criticizing Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation exclusives, then I'm probably gonna defend it. But you know why? Because those are actually good things to defend. But when it comes to Simtendo and Nintendo drama, what do you Simtendo players have? What do you have? Your console can't even go past 25 frames per second. Your online is garbage, and the only games you have are just either the overpriced Nintendo exclusives, some really outdated last generation ports like some old 360 or PS3 ports, or a bunch of shitty ass mobile games. That's literally all you Nintendo fanboys have. And Nintendo fanboys, you guys will probably you guys will probably agree with me, okay? Because like I said, I am a Nintendo fanboy myself. I love Nintendo, but I don't want them to make the wrong choices. I want them to be successful, and I want them to be a better company. That's what a real Nintendo fan is like. That's what any fan of a console should be like. You love the company, but at the same time, you're not going to simp for them. Because that's literally what a Simptendo fanboy is. That's why I'm calling them Simptendo fanboys. Because at this point, Simptendo fanboys, they're literally just simping for the company. Okay? Because if you don't know what a real simp is, a simp is someone who puts a woman before him and he'll treat her like a god or something. That's literally what a Simptendo fan is. They're treating Nintendo like they're some god tier company, even though they're not. And whenever they make a bad decision, Nintendo fanboys can't seem to see the difference between when a company does something right or wrong. Which is why when Nintendo makes a really bad choice, Nintendo fanboys will still defend them. And you want to hear something? If you Nintendo fanboys, if you love Nintendo so much, and if you love this company so much and you enjoy the Switch so much, go enjoy it then. Because what you Nintendo fanboys are doing, this is what these Nintendo fanboys are doing. When Nintendo fanboys see that Nintendo is getting backlash from a bad decision that they made, Nintendo fanboys will immediately start defending Nintendo and basically harassing and insulting anyone who actually sees through Nintendo. Because when Nintendo deserves the backlash that they get from people and the Nintendo fanboys go and start defending Nintendo and trash talking people who don't want to get ripped off by Nintendo, that's where you have a problem. You see, if only your brains were the size of your big obnoxious mouths, maybe then you Nintendo fanboys would actually have a little bit of sense to see that Nintendo is literally ripping you off. But no, that's not that's not the thing. Your brains are actually smaller than your small ass peepees, which is most likely the reason why you're still a virgin. You Nintendo fanboys are absolutely pathetic losers. You are defending a company that is not only ripping you off, but trying to rip off everyone who actually spent the money on their product. Because what Nintendo is doing is sickening. People went out and spent $300 on this thing, and now Nintendo wants you to spend $350 on a new version that's not even that good. It's fucking bullshit. And I hear some Nintendo fanboys saying, you shouldn't have expected the Switch Pro anyways. Nintendo never said anything about making a Switch Pro. Who cares, dumbass? It's 2021, for Christ's sake. It's 2021. How long has this console been out? If Nintendo doesn't make some moves and actually doesn't make the Switch Pro, Nintendo is not going to survive next gen, okay? Because next gen is already here. Xbox Series X is here, and so is PS5. And you know that next generation games are coming out. Now, sure, you can say, well, Nintendo, so far, Nintendo's doing okay. The Switch is doing just fine, even though Xbox Series X and PS5 is out. Okay, but how long, though? Okay, how long is that going to last? How long is it going to last? Because sure, Nintendo's doing well now. They got some games, but if you honestly think that a bunch of last generation ports, overpriced last generation ports, and a bunch of indie games are going to be able to keep the Switch alive during next gen, you're absolutely fucking insane. And that just proves my point. Nintendo fanboys are delusional. They're fucking drones. They will blindly defend Nintendo no matter what. I'm not even sure if they know what they're defending. It's just their main objective to defend Nintendo from getting backlash and getting negative feedback. And people look at negative feedback as a bad thing. It's not, though. Negative feedback helps a company, because when a company sees negative feedback, the company can then fix the problems and make solutions for the problems that the fans are having with their products. That's why negative feedback is good. So that way the company can see what the fans don't appreciate, so that way they can fix it. But Simptendo fanboys, they don't give negative feedback. And when they see people, normal people who are not fanboys, actually give negative feedback, deserve negative feedback when Nintendo deserves it, those Simptendo fanboys, they will be on you like mold on a shower curtain. And it's so pathetic. These Simptendo fanboys are just sad, pathetic losers. And what is it that you're defending anyways? The sad part is, the thing that you Nintendo fanboys are defending, it's not even good. You defend Nintendo's crappy online. You defend their neglect of the Joy-Con drift. Everything Nintendo does, every bad thing that they do, you defend it. You know that Nintendo is greedy. They don't care about their customers. By the way, if you Nintendo fanboys, if you actually think that Nintendo gives the slightest shit about you, then that's actually just tragic. That's both pathetic and tragic. They're literally ripping you off right now. Because Nintendo knows just how delusional their fans are. That's why they're literally ripping you off. And you Nintendo fanboys, or Simptendo fanboys, you fucking allow it. Because I know that my fellow Nintendo fanboys will not spend the money on that new version of the Switch. Because if I did that, then Nintendo would see that I am okay with them trying to rip me off with a new version of the Switch that's not even really a new version. It's just a stupid thing that has a slightly bigger screen. Oh, it's got better sound design. It's got 60 gig. Oh, who cares if it's got more storage, man? You think I care about that shit? I don't give a shit about that crap, and neither does anyone else. I already spent $100 on a 500 micro SD card. Why would I care if the new version has slightly bigger eternal memory? You think I care about that shit? But I know that the Simptendo fanboys will. Simptendo fanboys will praise Nintendo and defend Nintendo no matter what. They are delusional thrones. And it's really quite sad, okay? Because they're defending a company that doesn't even care about them. They're defending a company that's trying to rip people off, and they are defending a company that is not even good. Nintendo is not even that good, okay? Yeah, the Switch is an impressive console. It's got, like, there's some good games on there, but you can't defend the terrible online, the overpriced games, the laggy-ass online gameplay. Even the fucking Nintendo Wii Shop fucking lags on this thing. Nintendo is not even a good company, but to a Nintendo fanboy, they are an absolute god-tier company, and they deserve to be praised no matter what decision they make. And that's why it is so fucking pathetic. So yeah, I also like to make a couple shout outs to the people who watched my last video about the Nintendo Switch OLED rant. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching that video. I really appreciate it. I didn't expect it to blow up as much, but I just want to give a shout out to everyone who watched that video and left your comments. I really appreciate it. And a couple, like, there was this one Nintendo fanboy, he left a comment, and he said that my opinion on the Switch OLED was invalid because it was my own expectations. How is it my own expectations when literally everyone wanted the new Switch Pro? And even if it was my own expectations, we need Nintendo Switch Pro. Next gen is coming up, it's already fucking here. And these little indie games and these last generation ports for the Switch, it's not gonna hold up, okay? And I know that the Switch is getting some better games. It's getting some Xbox One and PS4 ports as well. But that's not the thing. Next generation consoles are here, and so are next generation games. And when those next generation games are going to come out, the Switch is not going to have a chance to get those games. It's just going to be stuck with shitty little indie games and stupid last generation ports, which is something that nobody wants. That's why we need the Nintendo Switch Pro. So that way Nintendo could actually get some good games on their platform. But since you Nintendo fanboys are actually supporting Nintendo in their choice to not make the Switch Pro, but instead make a stupid version of the Switch that doesn't have any new features, that's going to be their downfall. Because you Nintendo fanboys are giving Nintendo the idea that they don't need a Switch Pro. Because you Nintendo fanboys will probably go out and actually spend the money on the new Switch OLED version. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching my video about this whole Nintendo fanboy thing. Remember, Nintendo fanboys, I love you guys. I am a Nintendo fanboy. It's the simptendo fanboys who are the problem. Because not only are you guys fucking idiots, but you guys are going to be the downfall of Nintendo themselves. You guys are literally going to kill the company that you love so much. Because you are giving them the idea that what they're doing is okay. Because you blindly defend them and insult anyone who gives them the deserved negative feedback. Fuck all of you. Fuck all you Nintendo fanboys. You people are absolute dog shit and I hate you. Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching my video about this whole thing. Let me know. Are you a Simptendo fanboy? Are you already down there leaving your stupid little comment, your stupid little salty comment? And by the way, Simptendo fanboys, don't sit down there and make a fool out of yourself in the comments because you're just gonna get bullied. Okay? Don't make yourself look even more stupider than you already are. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. If I was a Simptendo fanboy and I was watching this, I would just back off. I would just leave my little dislike and I would back off. Don't make yourself look like an idiot in the comments, okay? Because no one's on your side, okay? And this goes out for all fanboys, Xbox fanboys, PC fanboys, PlayStation fanboys, Nintendo fanboys. You guys are all a bunch of fucking clowns. Okay? But anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching my video. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. This is Mr. Rage22 signing off. Bye-bye, guys.